Dear friends, welcome to Kartet Power Course designed by Tej Academy. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ PKR sir. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important concept in intelligence chapter, that is intelligence test. So before going to the topic, I request all the viewers to download our Tej Academy app from Play Store to access our Power Course, so that you can get multiple test papers based on chapters. You'll also get notes, you'll also get flashcards to remember easily. So all the digital material access, you can download Tej Academy app from our Play Store. If you find any difficulty, you can message to this number 9071455466, and daily we are also uploading free classes in our YouTube channel. So I know many viewers are watching our classes, but still they are not yet subscribed. I request, if you like our content, subscribe and click on the bell button so that you will get notification on priority basis whenever we release the videos. Let us move to our today's topic, intelligence test and their types. So now ತುಂಬಾ times intelligence ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ಥರ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೀಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಈಗ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 3 types ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್. So based on the process of administration, the intelligence test is designed. Based on this, intelligence tests are divided into 2 types. One is individual test, when we are giving to a test to individually one person, so that is individual test, and second one is group test. There is a second type of classification. What is the nature of test items used? Now ಯಾವ ಥರ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ there is a different classification based on this concept, nature of test items. Intelligent tests are divided into 3 types: verbal test, non-verbal test, and also performance based test. This is the second criteria of classification. There is one more version, third criteria, whether the intelligent test is going to favor one culture or it is going to give an equal importance for all the cultures. So based on the favorism towards the culture or not, there are 2 types of tests. They are culture fair tests, which will give equal importance to all cultures, and there are culture biased tests, which will favor only one type of culture. So let us see in detail all these. So today class will be very very interesting, and you whether irrespective of the Kartet or CTET, or whether we are going to become a government teacher or not, it doesn't matter. As a teacher, we all should have a basic knowledge and understanding of intelligent test. So let us see the first criteria. Based on administration process, intelligent tests are divided into 2 types, as we discussed already: individual test as well as group test. So what are these individual as well as group test and their characteristics? Individual intelligent test, as its name itself indicating, adaralli ide, it is administered to one person at a time. That is why it is called as individual intelligent test. Similarly, when it comes to group intelligent test, the name itself is saying it is administered to several persons simultaneously at a time. So that is the nature of the test. That's why they are given individual as well as group test names. When it comes to the second important objective, in individual test, the administrator, ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೋ, the evaluator, administrator, he should establish a rapport with the subject. ಇಲ್ಲಿ subject ಅಂದರೆ children on whom we are doing the test. So exam ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋರು, they are called subject. So administrator should develop a rapport with the subject and be sensitive to her or his feelings, moods and expressions during the testing session. ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ತಗೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವೋ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ, ಅದರ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅವನು ಮೂಡ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ರ್ಯಾಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 1-to-1 ಸೆಷನ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಸೆಷನಲ್ಲಿ, ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೋ ಎನಿ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಟು ಬಿ ಫೆಮಿಲಿಯರ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ 5-6 ಪೀಪಲ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್. ಸೊ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವನು ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಲೌ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಓರಲ್ಲಿ. ನೀನು ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೇ ಗಿವ್ ಓರಲ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್, ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಎ written form you can give MCQs or maybe a descriptive type of thing he will be writing. So orally and written form or manipulate objects as per the administrator instructions. So tester's instruction, as per your instruction, the child is going to give reply in the form of oral or written form, or he can manipulate the objects which you are giving to him to give response. When it comes to group intelligence, since it is a larger group, in this written answers are given most priority in the form of multiple choice format. You can see this is one of the very important feature of group intellectual or intelligence test. So group intelligence test alli MCQ format alli we will collect the written answers. Based on that we will compare with the intelligence scale. So individual intelligence test, group intelligence, I hope you might have got an idea now. Let us move to the second classification. Second classification, you know, what kind of test items we are using, what is the nature of test item. Based on the test item nature, the intelligent tests are divided into 3 types: verbal test, non-verbal test and performance test. Let us see in detail these 3 also. Verbal intelligent test, the name itself is indicating the subject is going to give a verbal response either orally or in written form. So for administrator, the subject and the children is going to give that children is going to respond to you verbally or orally or in a written form. That is why it is called as verbal intelligent test. Again, this verbal can be individual or group. That is also a criteria. Non-verbal. So in non-verbal intelligent test, since it is saying we are not going to give importance to language here, oral instructions are not necessary. So they use pictures and illustrations as test items. So the intelligent test which is devised based on the pictures and illustration is a non-verbal intelligent test. Coming to the third one, performance intelligent test. Performance based intelligent test alli ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, we are going to give some kind of materials where a student can make certain changes to obtain the final output. So ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ನ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ the subject is going to manipulate certain changes ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನ he is going to bring the final structure. So here important character is manipulating the objects and other materials to perform a task is the primary criteria. That is why it is called a performance based intelligence. Coming to the second one, verbal test can be administered only to literate people because they are mainly built based on the verbal communication or written communication. So if somebody want to verbally answer or written answers, so they must be literate. So usually they are limited to literate people. When it comes to non-verbal and performance based, both non-verbal as well as performance based, in both the cases language is not necessary. The reason is they are going to arrange a picture or missing part, or they are going to change certain structures to get the final product. So in these 2 cases language is not necessary. Coming to the third one, Verbal intelligence test, they show the cultural bias as we discussed in the previous slide, the third category. So these verbal intelligence tests are little bit towards one particular culture. They emphasize any one culture, they may down the other culture. That is because of their requirement of the language. You know, the language will change from culture to culture. So the certain tests which are created in the European areas may not be suitable for Africa and Asia. So it is going to show cultural bias. When it comes to non-verbal as well as performance test, these two are very much suitable for all kind of cultures. They will reduce this cultural bias. They will be culture fair test. So they do not encourage any differences between the culture. They will try to equalize the important common characteristics of all cultures. So that's why it reduces the culture bias, and performance can be easily administered to persons from different culture, because here we are mainly using different objects as a test items. So let us try to understand these three with certain simple examples. There are many tests under verbal, non-verbal, performance based, but I have selected three very much popular tests which anyone can understand. The first one, Stanford and Binet scale. As we all know, Alfred Binet, he was the first person who tried in terms of the intelligence test, who tried in terms of the defining intelligence, who tried in terms of the intelligence theory. We can say is the father of intelligence. So Binet created first time intelligence scale. Later it was revised by Stanford. So Stanford Binet scale, which is a verbal intelligence test. So here they use different kind of questions so that they get a answer. Based on that, they are going to measure the intelligence on their scale. Coming to the non-verbal, which is very, very important, Raven's progressive matrices test. Shortly we call it as RPM. You might have observed this name in many PYQs. RPM test, Raven's progressive matrices test. So this is a non-verbal intelligent test. So Raven's progressive matrices test ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? This is going to manipulate pictures. So you might have observed in the market, like for example, for children, we may give certain India map with different blocks, missing blocks. So if a child can able to identify all the blocks and create a proper structure, so that is the major criteria for this Raven's progressive matrices. So jumbled structures are going to be gathered and they will be arranged in a particular sequence. So either it can be picture based or illustration based. Similarly, coarse block design test. You might have observed this, wooden blocks where coarse block design consists of approximately 16 wooden blocks. So based on these 16 wooden blocks, the student is expected to construct a color pattern, a colorful wooden block. Based on that, he is going to construct a particular color pattern. So how much time does a student is taking to create that color pattern is going to decide his intelligence quotient. So this is also very, very interesting test. In Google you can find lot of colorful coarse block design test. So by using either performance based test or non-verbal intelligence test or verbal intelligence test, a trained psychologist is going to measure the person's IQ. Let us move to the third type. Based on the cultural favorism, some tests are going to minimize the cultural bias. Andre one culture ge iro differences na kammi ಮಾಡಿ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದಾವೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ some specific points will be common. So these tests are developed based on the common features of all cultures. When it comes to the second one, culture bias test, these tests are based on particular characteristics of only that culture. So this is culture biased and culture fair test. Of course, for any psychologist, it is very highly impossible to develop a common test which is unique throughout the world, because after all, intelligence is going to vary and it is going to depend on many factors. So it is very, very difficult to create a single test for throughout country. So here we discussed about culture fair as well as culture bias. Moving forward, now at present in India, National Library of Educational and Psychological Tests, shortly called as NLEPT. This NLEPT is maintaining a library of different types of intelligence tests, that is Indian intelligence test as well as foreign intelligence test at the NCRT. So NCRT has documented Indian test, and at NLEPT both Indian test list as well as foreign test lists are available. As you know, many people have developed different type of intelligence tests, so it is very much important to take which is the standard one to diagnose or maybe to check the intelligence of the group. So coming to the advantages of intelligence test. What is the major advantage or role of the intelligence test? Intelligence tests have lot of advantages in that primarily they are used for selecting the candidates. So it can be hiring process, it can be to select the best out of the available. So that is the major purpose of the intelligence test. After that, it is also used for counseling process. So it helps individuals to understand their abilities. According to that, by counseling we can improve. So for counseling also we use the intelligence test. And the third one, for guidance. So for guiding decision making, whether you are going in a right direction or in a different direction, to identify and to get a correct guidance, it is going to be useful. And fourth one, self analysis, whether what are the strengths and weakness of an individual. So to give a clear picture, intelligence tests are going to be utilized and also diagnose if there is any deficiency in the cognitive abilities or psychomotor abilities. With the diagnosis we can improve the performance. These are some of the basic roles, or we can say the uses of intelligence test. Along with the uses, there are drawbacks of intelligence test usage. As you all know, intelligence tests, if they are not used in a right way, or if the intelligence tests are used by a wrong person, untrained people, that leads to a lot of consequences. So here I mentioned some of the consequences, negatives, drawbacks of the intelligence test. The first one, the stigma. The people are going to be labeled, discriminated, just he is not intelligent, or he might be a dull student, or he might be an average student, below average student. With the wrong usage of the test, we are going to give a label. With that, the label is going to create a lot of inferiority complex in the person. Discrimination at home among the parents and children, discrimination in the school. Teacher is going to discriminate students based on the, especially this point, as a teacher we all should remember, we should never discriminate a student in the classroom based on the intelligence, because we are not trying to measure the intelligence. There are separate people who can measure the intelligence at different aspects as per our requirement. So a person who is not good at academics, it doesn't mean that he is less intelligent. Bias, it creates bias. It creates bias in terms of the peer group, it also creates bias in terms of the culture, it also creates bias in terms of the communities. Limited scope. So obviously less advantaged section people will have a limited scope to escape exposed to this IQ test, and that completely influence their success link. So there are multiple drawbacks of using intelligence tests. That is why intelligence tests need to be conducted by trained psychologists, trained people, not randomly. So let us see some of the PYQs given on this topic. Raven's progressive matrices test is a RPM. We already discussed RPM is a personality test, creativity test, attitude test, intelligence test. So this is a intelligent test. So today we discussed about intelligent test. In future classes we are also going to discuss about these three. Very simple question. Second one, performance test of intelligence measures this ability. This was asked in 2014 paper 2. So performance test of intelligence measures this ability. Performance test is mainly based on the manipulation of the objects. So manipulative, this is the correct one. This doesn't require language, this doesn't require creativity, this doesn't require numerical relationship. How you are going to change the given objects to get a particular structure. So manipulative is the correct answer. Next, the same question again they asked in 2017 paper 2. Same question. Performance test of intelligence measures this ability. Previously, option 1 was the answer, that they brought it to fourth, manipulation. So by this we can understand one who is having complete idea about the intelligence test. If you watch this video, 100% you can get 1 mark. Luckily if you get more than 1, so it depends. So kindly, if you like the video, share, subscribe our YouTube channel, download our Tej Academy app to access more questions on intelligence tests. If any queries, please WhatsApp to this number. Thank you.